It's completely normal to feel nervous before your first race. Almost every runner, no matter how experienced they become, can remember the moment they stood at the edge of their very first starting line with a heart that seemed to beat louder than the crowd around them. If you're feeling afraid, uncertain, or even questioning whether you've made the right decision by signing up, you're not alone. In fact, those emotions are often a sign that you're about to do something meaningful. The days leading up to your first race can be filled with excitement one moment and doubt the next. You might wake up feeling confident, imagining yourself crossing the finish line with a smile, only to spend the evening wondering whether you're ready at all. Questions begin to appear in your mind. What if everyone else is faster? What if I can't finish? What if I have to stop and walk? What if people judge me? These thoughts are common, and they happen to runners of every age, background, and fitness level. The strange thing about fear is that it often convinces us that we're the only ones experiencing it. When you look at race photos online or watch videos of thousands of runners crossing finish lines, it seems as though everyone is fearless. Everyone looks confident, focused, and prepared. But those images capture only a single moment. They don't show the sleepless nights before the race, the anxious thoughts during training, or the uncertainty many runners carried with them before taking their first step. Fear has a way of magnifying every weakness while hiding every strength. You begin remembering the workout you skipped instead of the dozens you completed. You focus on the slow run instead of the improvements you've made over the past weeks or months. Your mind quietly ignores every mile you've already conquered and instead whispers that you're somehow not ready. The truth is that readiness doesn't feel the way most people imagine. Many first-time runners believe that one day they'll wake up feeling completely confident, completely fearless, and completely certain that they can succeed. That day rarely comes. Even elite athletes who have won countless races often admit that they still feel nervous before competitions. The difference isn't that they no longer experience fear. The difference is that they've learned fear doesn't have to make their decisions. Think back to any meaningful achievement in your life. Chances are, you weren't perfectly confident before doing it. Whether it was starting a new job, speaking in front of others, learning a new skill, or making an important life decision, uncertainty probably came with the experience. Yet you moved forward anyway. Running your first race is no different. One of the biggest misconceptions about races is that they're only for fast people. Social media often celebrates incredible finish times, personal records, and elite performances. While those accomplishments deserve recognition, they represent only a tiny part of what race day is actually about. Most participants aren't trying to win. They're trying to prove something to themselves. Some runners are hoping to complete their very first 5K. Others are returning after years away from exercise. Some are celebrating weight loss, recovering from illness, honoring loved ones, or simply challenging themselves to do something they once believed was impossible. Every person standing near you at the starting line carries a different story, and none of those stories are less valuable because of the pace at which they run. You may worry about being the slowest runner. Surprisingly, many people at every pace share exactly the same concern. Even runners who finish in the middle of the pack sometimes believe everyone else is faster. Those near the front wonder whether they're prepared enough to compete. Fear doesn't disappear when speed increases. It simply changes its appearance. It's also worth remembering that race organizers expect participants of many different abilities. Volunteers cheer for every runner, not just the fastest ones. Spectators clap for people who are walking, jogging, or running because they recognize the courage it takes to show up. Crossing a starting line already places you among people willing to challenge themselves, and that deserves respect. Training itself teaches lessons that often go unnoticed. During your preparation, you've probably had days when your legs felt heavy. Perhaps you experienced a run that went much better than expected, followed by another that felt surprisingly difficult. That's normal. Progress isn't perfectly straight. Every runner has good days and bad days. Many beginners mistakenly believe that a single difficult workout means they've lost fitness. In reality, countless factors influence how a run feels. Sleep, hydration, nutrition, stress, weather, and even emotional state can affect performance. One disappointing run doesn't erase weeks of consistent effort. As race day approaches, some people become overly critical of themselves. They begin comparing their training with online running communities or friends who have more experience. Comparison can quietly steal the excitement that originally inspired someone to register. Imagine planting two trees in different environments. One grows quickly because the soil is rich and the weather is perfect. The other grows more slowly because conditions are harder. It wouldn't make sense to judge the second tree as a failure simply because its journey looks different. People develop fitness the same way. Genetics, age, experience, schedule, responsibilities, health, and countless other factors influence progress. Your race belongs to you alone. The distance you're about to complete once seemed impossible. At some point, running even a few minutes continuously may have felt difficult. Yet here you are preparing for something much greater than you once believed possible. That growth deserves recognition. Fear often tries to convince us to wait until we're perfect before taking action. But perfection is an illusion that keeps moving farther away. If you wait until every doubt disappears, you may never begin. One remarkable thing happens when people commit to a goal like a first race. They begin discovering strengths they never knew existed. The training process becomes more than physical improvement. It builds discipline, patience, resilience, and self-belief. There will likely be moments during the race when discomfort appears. Your breathing may become heavier. Your legs may feel tired. You might wonder whether you should slow down. These moments aren't signs that you failed. They're simply part of endurance. Every runner experiences them. Learning to continue despite temporary discomfort is one of the greatest lessons running offers. You don't need to sprint through difficult moments. Sometimes success simply means taking one more step. Many experienced runners will tell you that the finish line isn't actually where the biggest transformation happens. The transformation begins much earlier, on ordinary mornings when you choose to train instead of staying comfortable. It happens when you complete a run despite feeling unmotivated. It happens each time you prove that excuses don't have to control your actions. By race day, you've already accomplished something meaningful. The medal, if there is one, becomes a reminder rather than the achievement itself. The real achievement is becoming someone who is willing to prepare, improve, and face uncertainty. Another common fear is worrying about making mistakes. What if you start too fast? What if you forget something important? What if your pacing isn't perfect? Here's the reassuring truth: almost every runner makes mistakes during their first race. Some runners begin far too quickly because adrenaline takes over. Others forget to drink enough water. Some tie their shoes too tightly. Others wear clothes they later realize aren't comfortable. These experiences become stories, not failures. Every experienced runner has memories of learning through trial and error. The goal of your first race isn't perfection. It's experience. Once you've completed one race, you'll understand things no amount of reading or watching videos could ever teach. You'll know what pre-race nerves feel like, how the atmosphere energizes you, how your body responds, and what you'd like to improve next time. Your first race isn't the final exam. It's the first chapter. It's also important to remember why you decided to sign up in the first place. Before fear arrived, there was curiosity. There was excitement. There was a desire to become healthier, stronger, or simply to prove that you could accomplish something new. Fear tends to make us forget our original motivation. Returning to that reason can restore perspective. Maybe you wanted to inspire your children. Maybe you promised yourself this would be the year you became more active. Maybe you simply wanted to discover what you were capable of. Whatever your reason, it still matters. On race morning, you'll likely notice something remarkable. Thousands of strangers gather with one shared purpose. They come from different careers, different backgrounds, different ages, and different life experiences, yet everyone stands together waiting for the same starting signal. In that moment, you're not competing against the entire field. You're sharing an experience with them. Some runners will encourage you even if they've never met you before. Volunteers will smile and cheer. Spectators will clap for runners they don't know. Running has a unique way of creating community among strangers. If you need to slow down, slow down. If you need to walk briefly, walk. If you need to catch your breath, do it. None of those choices erase the courage it took to begin. Too many people believe success means running every step without stopping. In reality, success is defined by finishing the challenge you've accepted. Whether you run every mile or combine running with walking, you're still moving toward the finish line. The finish line doesn't ask how many walking breaks you took. It doesn't ask how nervous you were. It doesn't ask whether you doubted yourself the night before. It simply welcomes every person who refused to quit. Years from now, you're unlikely to remember your exact pace or split times from your first race. But you'll remember the excitement of standing at the start. You'll remember hearing the countdown. You'll remember taking those first steps surrounded by hundreds or thousands of runners. You'll remember seeing the finish line growing closer. Most of all, you'll remember realizing that the fear which once seemed so overwhelming had never been stronger than your determination. Every experienced runner has a first race story. Some finished smiling. Some struggled. Some walked more than expected. Some were slower than planned. But almost all of them share one thing in common. They're grateful they didn't let fear decide for them. Today, you're standing at the same point they once stood. You have the same opportunity to choose courage over comfort. Being brave doesn't mean you're free from fear. Being brave means fear is present, and you choose to move forward anyway. Your first race isn't asking you to be perfect. It isn't asking you to be the fastest. It isn't asking you to impress anyone. It's simply asking you to begin. And sometimes, beginning is the bravest step of all.